So we finished up with the positional ranking, so now I'm going to be hopping into something a little different. That's right, today I'm going to be hopping into the top 5 Dark Horse Cy Young candidates. And by Dark Horse candidate, I mean those pitchers who, in my opinion, have a legit shot to win the award in 2022, but people just aren't picking them to win. And before we hop into the rankings here, I'm really not doing these in any order. I'm just kind of picking out 5 players who I think can win the award. So with that in mind, let's hop right into the video. First up here, at number 5, I have Freddie Peralta of the Milwaukee Brewers. Peralta broke out last year where he found himself in the middle of the Cy Young conversation towards the end of the season. And in my opinion, Peralta got overshadowed because of a couple of his teammates. He just happens to pitch in the same rotation as Brandon Woodruff and Corbin Burnes, who had better seasons than him last year. But I think Peralta was a legitimate Cy Young candidate. The only thing that held him back from really competing for the award was the amount of innings he pitched. He only pitched in 144 innings, but in those 144 innings, he went 10-5 with a 2.81 ERA, a .97 WHIP, and 195 punchouts to go along with a 3.8 WAR. And another thing I want to point out with Peralta is just how much he's improved over the past couple seasons. In 2019, he had a 5.29 ERA. In 2020, that ERA went down to 3.99. And of course, as I mentioned, last year he had a 2.81 ERA. So he has seen significant improvements in his earned run average over the past couple seasons, and I'm not saying he's going to have another drastic drop in his ERA because with what he's done the past couple years, he would have to drop it down to like below 2. So I don't think that's going to happen, but I could see him pitching just as well, if not better, going into next year. He's heading into his age 25 season. I'm a big fan of Peralta, and I think he's a legitimate sleeper Cy Young candidate. Next up, at number 4, I have Logan Webb of the San Francisco Giants. Now, just a couple years back in 2019, Logan Webb was one of San Francisco's top prospects before being suspended 80 games for testing positive for a banned substance. And since then, it seems to be that a lot of people have forgotten about him. And last year, he reminded a lot of people why he was a top prospect just a couple years back. He pitched in 148 innings where he went 11-3 with a 3.03 ERA, a 1.1 WHIP to go along with 158 strikeouts and a 3.9 WAR. And the only thing that held Logan Webb back from being a legitimate Cy Young candidate last year was that he didn't pitch all season. If he pitched over 200 innings, he probably would have been top 5 in the Cy Young voting. This guy was a big reason why San Francisco won the National League West. And considering Webb is heading into his age 25 season, I think he's going to pitch very well in his first full season in the big leagues. Webb is a really good pitcher. I think he has an outside shot at winning the Cy Young Award next year. Moving on, at number 3, I have Max Fried of the Atlanta Braves. Fried is widely known as one of the more underrated pitchers in the game today, which sort of in a way doesn't make him underrated, but I still don't think he gets the respect he deserves. Last year, Fried pitched in 166 innings where he went 14-7 with a 3.04 ERA, a 1.08 WHIP to go along with 158 punchouts and a 5.4 WAR. And back in 2020, if it wasn't for the shortened season, Fried may have been well on his way to winning the National League Cy Young Award. In 2020, he pitched in 56 innings where he went 7-0 with a 2.25 ERA. So this guy is capable of putting together long stretches where he really looks like one of the best pitchers in the game. He doesn't necessarily have wipeout stuff, but he's a very smart pitcher and he picks his corners very well. So Fried is a really good pitcher on a really good team. I think he's going to have an outstanding year next season. Fried, in my opinion, is the ace of Atlanta's staff, and I think he has a legit shot to win the Cy Young this year. Moving on, at number 2, I have Jack Flaherty of the St. Louis Cardinals. Flaherty has not been healthy over the past couple seasons, but when he was last healthy back in 2019, he was a legit Cy Young candidate. In that 2019 season, he finished 4th in the Cy Young voting where he had a sub-3 ERA and punched out 230-plus batters. And looking back to last year, if he didn't get injured, he was well on his way to a All-Star caliber and maybe even a Cy Young caliber season. Last year, he pitched in 78 innings where he went 9-2 with a 3.22 ERA to go along with a 1.06 WHIP, 85 strikeouts, and a 1.0 WAR. So before the injury shut him down for the season, Flaherty was well on his way to a very, very good season. Right now, Flaherty is heading into his age 26 season, and he's really in the middle of his prime. And if he's healthy all season long, I would not be surprised at all to see him replicate what he did back in 2019. Flaherty has a very good fastball to go along with a wipeout slider and curveball. I'm a big fan of Flaherty. I think he's one of the more fun pitchers to watch in the game today. The only thing holding him back at this point is the injuries. But if he is healthy in 2022, I think he's going to show a lot of people what he is fully capable of. And moving on, at number 1, I have Sandy Alcantara of the Miami Marlins. If you watched my top 10 pitchers list recently, you know how big I am on Alcantara. Sandy Alcantara is one of those players that, in my opinion, doesn't get the love he deserves because he's not on the best team. Now, I know wins and losses don't mean much for pitchers these days, but you can't deny a 15-5 record doesn't look a lot better than a 5-15 record. Alcantara had a dominant season last year where he pitched to a 3.19 ERA, but he only won 9 games and lost 15. Had he won 15 games and lost 9, I think he would have got a lot more attention. I know it sounds weird to say because wins and losses are fully out of the pitcher's control, but I don't know. I just think this guy would have got a lot more attention if he had won more games. And another reason why I think Alcantara is so underrated is because he plays for Miami, the team that basically has no fans. I think Alcantara has some of the best stuff in the game today. He has a fastball that can reach triple digits, and he also has really good off-speed stuff. Alcantara is heading into his age 26 season, and I think he is going to have a career year in 2022. So there you have my 5 Dark Horse Cy Young candidates. I know it was all National League players, which I hate to do, but I just think there's a lot of Dark Horse candidates over in the National League. And before we finish up today's video, I want to name off a few honorable mentions. I was really close to putting players like Shane McClanahan, Luis Castillo, Justin Verlander, and Dylan Cease. But I didn't end up putting those pitchers on the list because they're either 1, going to be on an innings limit, or 2, don't have the best control in the world. But they're all still very good pitchers who I could see making a run for the Cy Young in 2022, so I wanted to give them a mention as well. But anyways, that's going to wrap today's video up. Let me know what you guys think down below with the list. Let me know who you guys think I missed out on as well. And as always, if you guys do enjoy the content, feel free to subscribe. I'm going to post a lot more videos here as we head closer to the 2022 season. And of course, I want to thank you guys again so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.